Hey everyone, this is Jim Wallace at PurdueBandFan.com again. I have three special students with me from the Purdue All-American Marching Band. And I thought that they had a sort of a common message here that we'll get to in just a moment. But before we do that, why don't I have each one of them introduce themselves and tell a little bit about where they're from and so on.
I'm Thomas Schilling from Indianapolis. I'm majoring in civil engineering and I'm a junior.
I'm ThomasCharylaSara. I'm from Norman, Oklahoma, and I'm a junior in electrical engineering.
Hi, I'm Sarah King. I'm a sophomore in public relations, concentrating in advertising, and I'm originally from Wilmington, Massachusetts.
So we have two out-of-staters, Oklahoma and Massachusetts, and then Indianapolis isn't too far away. So all three of you have something in common, and I'm always hopeful that on my website, high school students who are coming to Purdue or thinking about it, and who play a musical instrument are thinking about joining a band, but maybe they don't want to for one reason or another. I've heard all kinds of reasons. And you three have something in common. That is, when you were a freshman, you did not try out for the All-American Marching Band. You probably played in other music ensembles. But let me ask you, we'll start with you, Tom. Why did you not try out the first year? What were the reasons that, you're probably the same reasons other people would have.
Yeah, so coming into college, I thought, you know, I don't really want to do marching band. I had done marching band throughout high school, and it wasn't exactly the type of experience that other people had in marching band because my school didn't compete. They didn't take it very seriously. So I thought that I would just give indoor ensembles a try and get used to college before I did something more of a time commitment like the marching band here.
Did you think you might not be as qualified as you needed to be because of that, or?
I didn't really think about that part. I
Okay.
didn't know what to expect out of it. So
Yeah, okay, that's reasonable.
So I did every single musical ensemble possible in high school. I did marching band, literally everything. And so I wanted to do everything when I came to Purdue too, but one of my parents wouldn't let me into, that'd be a lot because majoring in engineering, it's not an easy major, and generally first year's the hardest, people say, because you're adjusting to college.
Sure.
So my parents were like, you can do one ensemble, and I knew that marching band took a lot of time. So I was like, all right, I won't do marching band, I'll just do concert band. That's Thomas and I met actually there, so that's cool. And so yeah, I just did that concert, and then yeah.
What changed your mind?
So we both did Boiler Brass. Thomas and I became best friends freshman year, and
we might mention Boiler Brass is the men's basketball pep band.
Yeah, so we did Boiler Brass, and we met Luke and Hannah, and we became pretty good friends with them, and they convinced us to join marching band. It's so much fun, you'll love marching band. Come do it, So it's so we both tried out, we both did, and here we are. So.
So how was band camp the first time?
first time was pretty tough, pretty strenuous. It's
exhausting.
It's exhausting. 8 hours a day of physical activity that after a summer where you're probably not used to doing physical activity outside like that. But
for sure.
It is a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great new people and get to know people who are already know what they're doing at Purdue. So
I didn't think it'd be as intense as it was when we came into it, because the band camp we had in high school for marching bands was nothing compared to the band camp we have here.
How about you, Sarah?
So, unlike them, last year, which was my freshman year, I didn't do an ensemble at all.
Okay.
I wasn't in band at all because I didn't realize that it was a placement. You don't get cut, you don't get anything, they find a place for you, and I didn't know that. So I felt like I didn't have enough background in marching because, like you, my school was smaller, we didn't really compete, we didn't really march and play often, so I was kind of I don't think I'm ready for this. Plus, I do guard as well, so I hadn't marched with my instrument that much at all. So I didn't even audition for anything my fall. But then I auditioned in the spring, and I made friends with a lot of people. I did Kappa Kappa Psi, I did percussion ensemble, and I played trumpet. There's a lot of opportunities, and I made a lot of friends, and they're like, hey, you should do marching band. I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. And they're like, you can do it. And I was like, okay, because I always wanted to be, because I've been watching them since 5th grade. So I auditioned, and they're totally right. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere close to as strenuous as it was, because at the end of day one, I was kind of like dying, so it was great, but totally worth it.
So, by the way, we didn't mention, Sarah mentioned she played the trumpet, but we didn't talk about your instruments.
We both play the trombone.
Yeah. So, go Bones, huh?
Yeah.
So, how is it different than what you thought it might be, and how is it the same from your expectations? Thomas?
Well, yeah, I didn't really grow up following Purdue marching band like a lot of people like Sarah did. So I didn't really know what to expect, and that's probably part of the reason that I didn't do it freshman year. And I think the time that I decided to do it was after coming out of a wind ensemble rehearsal to put my instrument away. I saw some people sitting in the hallway, and Hannah, one of our good friends,
Hannah Farrell.
Yeah, Hannah Farrell. She just stopped me. She said, "Hey, do marching band." I was like, I didn't know who this girl was.
Yeah.
Why is she talking to me? Why is she telling me to do something? So
Yeah.
that's when I started to give it some thought, and so it basically just went from there. I didn't know what I was getting into, but
If I remember right, Hannah did not try out her freshman year also. I believe she was talked into it by friends of hers in the other ensemble. Sarah, to your point earlier, when they find a place for you, we should mention that there are many people that do not make the marching band. I think this last year there may have been as many as 100. But there are many other ensembles. First of all, there's the athletic bands, basketball, both men and women's, and the volleyball pep bands that they can play in, and that's kind of fun. And plus the concert ensembles, symphonies, concert bands, and so on. So
and jazz bands.
jazz bands, of course, yeah. So there's always a place for the student. They just may not make the marching band for whatever reasons, skills or whatever.
My first ensemble was actually the Golden Black Sound Women's Pep Band.
Okay.
Since I didn't do it in the fall, I actually ended up joining Gabs later on in the fall semester and being like, oh, and that's where I actually got into band and stuff.
And we want to mention, just because some of the audience won't know, that's the women's basketball pep band. And it is, I believe, the largest women's basketball pep band in the Big Ten.
It's definitely what we like to call it.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. So what else in terms of, how is it different than what you thought it would be? Now, not just the band, the rehearsals, the experience. I know you've met a lot of people, maybe more than you would have sitting in a concert band. You don't meet too many other people in the band. But has that been a surprise to you? How many friends you've made in the marching band?
I definitely think so, because I am, so like I didn't grow up watching the Purdue marching band or anything. I was from Oklahoma, so I didn't really know much about Purdue at all. And I didn't expect it to be as great as it is. I loved marching band in high school, and we did compete and everything. And then a lot of my friends went to the University of Oklahoma, and they're in the Pride of Oklahoma. They're in the marching band, and I think they rehearse 3 times a week or maybe 4 times a week. And it wasn't just not that much. And I didn't know that we rehearsed every day, right? We rehearsed every day, and then all of our Saturdays, are fun. I love it though. It definitely is one of my favorite things.
And we might mention too, to others who would not know that, you do a different show every Saturday. So it's not like high school where
We just have one show all year.
show and you keep perfecting
Which is
it.
nice, 'cause
Yes.
don't miss that.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, how big approximately in size were each of your high school bands, Thomas?
Marching band was 70 to 100. I'm not sure the
70 to 100 in that range.
We had 160. It was a decent size for high school.
Yeah, 160.
And mine was a little under 100, I think. It's
Okay.
in the 80s.
And now you're in a band with 390.
Yeah.
So-
we definitely met a lot of people and gained a lot of new friends. I love our whole section. Every year we've just made a lot of new friends in the section, so that's been really fun.
It seems to me, from my background, both as a student and now involvement with the band, that when you're in a concert band, you just don't meet that many people in the ensemble. But in the marching band, you're bound to meet
Yeah.
a lot of
And you
others.
spend so much more time together too than you would in a concert band.
Very true.
And also, generally in a concert band, you're just like, sitting and playing music, whereas we have so many activities that we all do together every day in the marching band.
And you travel together. Are you going to Ireland?
Yeah.
Yeah, the band's going to Ireland. That ought to be fun.
I want to go.
Well, not everybody.
Most people are though.
Yeah, most are, yeah. All right, could you think of anything I left out in terms of your experience with the marching band that a high school student watching this might want to know about?
Just in terms of differences between my expectations and what it actually is, when you hear 10 hours a week of rehearsal, it's you're kind of taken aback and like, wow, that's a huge time commitment. I don't know if I would want to commit that much time, but I would just say that I was thinking that too, but then once you start doing rehearsals every day, it's kind of a break from everything else during school that you have to worry about.
Definitely.
Yeah, it does also teach you time management skills.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Probably way more than the average university student would have.
Like,
Definitely.
like we all didn't do it, our freshman year, and like, I know that I do better now in terms of managing my time than I did freshman year. I didn't do marching band freshman year.
And this
I know
is-
how to keep on top of mostly it's all the tasks.
I agree with that.
This is a concern I know that many parents have, that this is a big commitment and it might take time away from their studies. But the other side of that is you're pretty well forced to live a regimented lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're going to rehearse in the afternoon, so you can't study then. So now you have to structure studying around other times.
If anything, I would say it actually kind of forces you to, one, be independent, but to mature more. It's more of a real world thing. You have to plan out your whole day around when are you accessible to do something. And honestly, I feel like it can even make like studying easier because you get all that stress out of your brain at rehearsal, like they were saying. And it's like you have clearer focus when you actually need to study.
It's a good physical, it's kind of like running or
Yeah.
something else that would do that. Well, I appreciate your time. We don't have rehearsal today, which is nice because we don't have a football game at home for a couple of weeks. So we're only rehearsing, 3 days this week?
Yes.
So you have a lot of time to get the next show together. So thanks for coming in, and I appreciate it. You have a nice day.
Thank you.